People in history, they would often be about people that didn't look like me.
Hello everyone, my name is Alicia and this is Alicia's Journal. Today we will continue the story of reclaiming narratives as part of the Black History Project. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Keri Grant and I'm so excited for her to be here. So welcome, Keri.
Thank you, I'm glad to be here.
So one of the things that we want to try and highlight is the stories behind the pictures that we see behind us and all of the pictures that we've had in various different places across the UK. And so I thought it was important for you to come and sit down with me and just have a conversation, right? I wasn't a part of your particular photo shoot. Mm-hmm. However, I did hear wonderful things about you, so I wanted to have a conversation with you. I thought it was important that we had that conversation. So one of the questions that I start with is, obviously the theme is reclaiming narratives. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that people understand that Black people just aren't entertainers, sports people. They're doing other things, right? Yeah. Other positive things within the community. Mm-hmm. And so I want to ask you, what does reclaiming narratives mean from a personal perspective?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, reclaiming narratives is all about sharing stories which are more positive about Black people. I think usually when you hear stories and it relates to Black people, they can often be negative, and we can focus, particularly around Black History Month, we can focus on struggles and things that I guess more challenging to hear. And I think that is important. It is that there is a place for that, but I also think it's important to highlight the good things and the inspirational stories out there, so that can bring hope and give us something to look to and to inspire us to know that although there's been a lot of challenges, it is possible to do good things, to do positive things. And I think that's what reclaiming narratives is all about, sharing those stories.
Yeah, I love that, highlighting the resilience within Black and brown people. I absolutely love that. So another question that I always ask people is, so what are some of the narratives that you grew up with? You know, there's a lot of narratives that are placed upon Black people that are quite limiting, right? And quite oppressive, some would say. So are there any narratives that you grew up with that perhaps changed the way you see things?
Yeah, I think that is definitely true. I think when I think about the stories and narratives I did hear about Black people, I'd say the biggest problem for me, probably thinking back, is that there was generally an absence of stories about Black people, particularly in a positive light. And fictional and non-fictional stories about people in history, they would often be about people that didn't look like me. And I think I just kind of accepted that as the norm. I think about, you know, World Book Day, which we had in school, and every year you get a chance to dress up as your character. And yeah, I would usually dress up as somebody who they didn't resemble me at all. But yeah, I guess I saw that as normal. But I know recently in the past couple of years, Disney released a movie called Wish, and it was the main character in that movie was a Black girl, and she had freckles. And yeah, seeing that, it did actually move me more than I expected. I'd never really seen anyone, particularly Black, and having freckles, you know, out there. But it was actually really nice. It was really uplifting to see. And I think that shows how, I guess, representation, it can just give you more of a sense of belonging and build you up in more ways than you expect. So yeah.
So let's touch on that, because you know, Black comes in all different shades, right? And you know, we're all made in our own different way, our own unique, beautiful way. And so it's not often that you see a Black girl with freckles. So tell me, like, what that was like for you growing up. Are there other people in your family that have freckles? Is it hereditary? What was that like?
Yeah, so my mum has a lot of freckles, and I think the thing with my freckles is when I was younger I didn't have many, but as I've got older I've got more. Okay. I would say, yeah, with my freckles, sometimes I really like them, sometimes I don't. Okay. And they've become more trendy recently. So I tend to get more, I guess, appreciation these days. But yeah, growing up, sometimes people say, oh, what's that on your face? Or like, you know, can you remove those and things like that. It hasn't always been a positive thing. Right. But I would say you know, my mum having freckles, she's always been, I guess, a positive role model in that sense. She's never shown any insecurity about that, and she's always told, like, me and my younger sisters that we're beautiful, and so that's always helped me. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you know, I think one of the things that I will say is your freckles are absolutely beautiful. They're amazing, but you've obviously highlighted that it wasn't always something that you was able to embrace. And so how did you overcome that? I know you talked about your mom, but obviously your mom's not always going to be there as this, you know, representative. So how did you be able to find that within yourself, walking around amongst society as a black girl with freckles, when people view you quite differently? You've mentioned how people say, you know, can you get those removed? Like, how was you able to stand firm in who you was and be like, this is who I am, this is how God made me?
Those kind of comments haven't been too frequent, definitely recently, but I would also say I try not to focus too much on external appearance. I always think beauty comes from within, really, and there are days sometimes where I'm not happy with the way I look, and I just try not to focus on that and just carry on. I think I can be okay sometimes with not feeling that I look absolutely amazing, and also sometimes I may leave the house and I don't feel like that I look good, and I might get a compliment, which is nice. I guess it's always good nice to compliment people, but yeah, I think ultimately I try not to focus too much on the outward appearance, and focus on who I am and how I interact with others more than anything else.
So tell me who Keri is then. Tell me, like, who, if you was to describe yourself and other people were to describe you, who would you say you were at your core?
Yeah, I definitely say I care a lot about people. I love to help people however I can. I think if there's anything that if I see somebody in need and there's any way I can help them, I'm quite willing to use what I have to help. I think particularly around, I guess, like career development and career paths, that's been something I've been quite drawn to. I mentioned I've got 3 younger sisters, so I feel I'm kind of a natural older sister. I'm definitely more drawn to, I guess, young women who are slightly younger than me and maybe being on a path where I've been before. So yeah, that kind of phase where I think a lot of people trying to figure out, you know, what career or what industry to do. It can be overwhelming and just really difficult to figure out, you know, what do I do? How do I navigate this? And that's something I've been happy to help with and give time to people in my life.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I recognise, especially in relation to like my career, is, you know, it's been a bit of a learning. I've had to have some bumps in the road to understand what direction I want to take and what direction I want to move in. And so when I'm certain of what direction I want to be in, then I'm able to lend and helping hand to other people. So I think what I'm really trying to ask you is, were there any challenges that you had along the way that shaped and molded you and, you know, nurtured you to be this person who just wants to give back in that way?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I know growing up, my parents, they placed a lot of emphasis on education. I think this relates back to, I guess, one of the narratives I heard growing up as well. One of the common narratives was that as a black person, you need to work really hard and be exceptional to get anywhere. And I feel my parents, particularly my dad, really did believe that. So he put a lot of emphasis on education and doing well in school. So for me, it was really key and an important goal to go to university. I thought that would be a way for me to have the best opportunities available to me. And I did end up studying IT at university, but the road to get there, it wasn't so straightforward. When it came to applying for university, I was a bit on the fence and not really sure what I wanted to do. IT had been a strong subject of mine and one of my favourites, but I also really liked geography and became interested in like environment and that kind of thing. So I ended up going for environmental science and I actually applied for that. But yeah, going to some of the open days and things, I was having doubts about whether this was really for me. And my dad kind of said the same. But I just thought, I'll just go for it, see what happens. And I didn't actually get into any of my options on the results day, which was really crushing for me. And because I placed so much emphasis on education, I thought, oh, if I don't go to university, this is it. But I did end up looking at the IT courses, and there were some available, so I was able to do that. And yeah, I found it's been an area that's been quite natural to me. I've always appreciated technology, and yeah, I was able to excel and do well on the course. And I think in IT there aren't a lot of women, or there weren't a lot of females or women on the course. But yeah, I did enjoy it, and I went on to pursue a career in that as well. So also helping other women get into tech, and Black women as well. It is also a passion of mine wherever I can.
So are you finding more and more Black women are going into tech? Because I feel like that's something that's happening lately.
I think so. Yeah, I'm seeing more and more. And yeah, you know, on social media, I follow these people, and yeah, I know, you know, girls in tech and Black girls in tech. It's become more of a thing that people are promoting. So I would definitely say that is growing. Yeah.
Okay. And so this is a very a different industry for a Black woman to be in, and you seem to be, you know, finding your way in the sense that you've established yourself and now you're helping other people. So tell me, like, how you give back in that sense, because you highlighted that quite a few times. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I've spent most of my years contracting, so freelancing, you know, through my own business, mostly in the public sector. And yeah, with contracting, I guess you are paid quite well, and within your own company, you are able to, I guess, hire and employ people. So for a while I was contracting.
Shout out to our sponsors, Arts Council England, Fashion Afrique, and Anais Art. Without you, none of this would be possible. You truly have helped to keep our vision and our mission going. Also, if you're an individual or organisation that would like to collaborate with us and you believe in collaboration over competition, then email us at blackhistoryproject2025@gmail.com.
I had an idea of wanting to do an internship, to do a paid internship. So something I had seen is that there would be entry level jobs for you know, tech roles, or my particular role, which was user research, and it would be a first time role, but they would require years of experience. And I always thought that doesn't really make sense. It's not right to have a role where I feel like you ought to be training somebody up rather than expecting years of experience. Right. And then also, I know that there are a lot of boot camps out there where people who want to gain experience, they would have to pay to do a course, or pay to do, you know, have things that they can work on to build case studies. So I wanted, if I could, to do a paid internship, and that was something I managed to do on one of my contracts when I was working with NHS Digital. I just started to talk to them about it, to the people that I was working with, to see if it was something they would be open to. And when I found out they would be, I then started looking for the person, and I ended up connecting with somebody who I go to church with, and she was at a phase in her life where she was planning to go to university. It didn't quite work out, and she was now trying to figure out what she wanted to do, and she was looking for a job at the time. So yeah, I found out she was interested in tech, and so I just offered her this internship, went through the process, and she ended up working with me for 3 months.
Right.
And she didn't know anything about my kind of role, user experience, or even techs per se, but yeah, got her to do some training courses, got her involved with the work I was doing. And she went from not knowing anything, for it to be, from it being new to her to actually at the end she was like presenting things to stakeholders independently, and she was a key team player, even able to like take over some of my projects. So yeah, and she's now gone on to she's currently an apprentice with Accenture, and she's doing really well. Recently won a Women in Tech Awards just last year. So yeah,
that's amazing. Well done.
Yeah, but,
we have to celebrate that. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'd say she was an amazing person herself. It was just, I think sometimes people just need an opportunity, and she just excelled once she had that opportunity.
But I think that speaks to who you are. You went into the environment, you understood that actually, you know, we shouldn't really expect people to have this level of experience. There needs to be a helping hand, someone like you to kind of mentor and support them in this particular industry, because it's not something that, you know, comes easy. And so I think it's amazing that you even had the courage to be in this environment. I'm assuming it was like, you know, an environment where you work for other people, right?
Yeah, work with a team. So I technically work with for myself, but you're in a team.
So you're in a team, and you basically have to pitch this idea. I want to do an internship, and you basically found someone who was willing to participate, and ever since then they've gone on to win awards. So that's amazing. Well done. That's absolutely brilliant. I think, you know, it really highlights, you know, who you are in relation to your career, you being, you know, someone who helps and supports, and that's, you know, really, really special. Is there like, you know, a direction in which you're trying to get to? Like what's the goal ultimately for you?
Yeah, I would definitely like to do more of that, more kind of open up opportunities, I guess, mentoring, giving, helping people excel. At the moment in my career, I'm kind of in a transition phase where I don't currently have like a government contract, and I'm trying to figure out my next move. I definitely still have a passion for technology, and I would like to stay in that industry, but I'm also open to pivoting and doing something different. But yeah, I think just continuing on this path, continuing to grow and learn in my knowledge, and then still helping others however I can. During my time kind of not having full-time work, I've been working with a local charity. So yeah, I decided to use my network, find out if there was anybody who could use my skills. So I've been spending most of my free time working with a charity and supporting them with digital things, and uploading things on their website, because that was an area that they were lacking, and I just had those skills. So yeah, that's, I guess, how I am trying to find those opportunities to help others and continue to use my skills.
Okay, so we got to talk about the picture, right? So one of the things that, you know, has been amazing about this project is that these pictures have been pretty much everywhere, right? They've been to Birmingham Library, they've been to East London University, they've been to really some great places, right? And so I want to know, like, how does it feel to know that your picture has been in these spaces?
Yeah, I think it's really amazing. I think when I agreed to take part in this project, I had no idea how far it would go. I feel like it's a project that keeps giving back or keeps growing, and I really didn't see that coming. But I think it's really amazing, and I'm really proud of the team as well and everybody involved behind the scenes, because I know it takes a lot of work and effort and collaboration to make these things happen. So yeah, I just think it's really uplifting, and I'm really glad that it's happening, and I feel privileged to be a part of it, and I'm so glad that I said yes to taking part.
You know, the reality is that, like, there's going to be a young black girl that sees your picture in those spaces that looks like you, has freckles just like you, right? And they're going to be like in awe of you for that very reason, because you're in that space, and it's going to allow for them to be able to embrace the very thing that makes them different, the very thing that makes them special. So how does it really feel to like see yourself being represented in this way in these spaces?
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I wouldn't have thought of it in that way, and I mean, even you saying that now, I'm not sure if I completely believe that, but I know that myself. Seeing others who look like you is powerful, and I think just even the collection together to see so many Black people doing different things is powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to mention that you are quite reserved, right?
Yeah.
Some people might say that you're quite shy,
Yeah.
right? Some people might say that you're quite within yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so it might have took you a lot to even get here, right, and do this. So I want to know, was there any internal challenges that you had to kind of overcome in order to be in this space and put yourself out there? Because you seem quite a reserved person, quite a shy person. What was that like?
Yeah, I think I can seem. I sometimes describe myself as quietly confident.
Okay.
So I feel like I can come across more shy than I am.
Okay.
But I would say when it comes to getting photos taken, I don't generally feel that photogenic.
Okay.
And it's not really my comfort zone per se to pose and take pictures. But yeah, it sounded like a really good project and a good opportunity. So I thought I would just give it a go. And yeah, the people on the day were nice and encouraging.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. And the reality is you are, really beautiful. And I hope that you really understand that people like you are really special and amazing. And that's kind of why we're creating this project, so that people like you can actually understand that you are value, right? You mean something, right? And everything that you're doing is really amazing, and you are to be celebrated. So I just want to give you your flowers while you're here and pour love onto you, because you are a beautiful, beautiful soul.
Oh, thank you.
I want you to know that when I heard about you and all the amazing things that you're doing in tech as a Black girl in tech, I know that's quite some would say a male-dominated industry, right? That's something that I was really wow, that really piqued my interest. And now that I've kind of seen you in person, I think I'm even more inspired by you, because it goes to show that you don't have to be, you don't have to be out there as a personality. You don't necessarily have to, your work speaks for itself, clearly, right? And so that's to be celebrated. So what was your experience working on the project? I know you mentioned that, it was good to have the good energy and the good people around you that made things easier. But was there anything that you took from the project? Was there any impact that the project had on you? What was that like?
Yeah, I think it was a good day. It was nice to go and pick an outfit, have my makeup done, and have the pictures taken. I think it was nice to meet the others as well, and who were there on the day, and hear their stories. I think it was good that we wore the African clothes as well. I think as Black people, Caribbean and African, we're all united by Africa, because that is our roots. And we had some conversations about that on the day. And so I really liked just the unity of it and everyone there, and I felt, I guess, a stronger sense of identity on that day as well.
Talk to me a bit about that. What do you mean by a stronger sense of identity?
Because I think, just being a part of it, and then seeing lots of, I guess, multiple other people as well with this, I guess, shared participation in this thing, and having those conversations, and being in the African clothing shop and taking part of that. It's like I was part of something. And I guess, like I said, growing up with the stories, oftentimes there aren't people like me, and I'm just so used to just being, I guess, different apart from my sisters. And so that when I have experiences like that, where there's a lot of other people who share a similar background, and I think particularly because of the project, we're doing something together, it gives me that, yes.
So how do you feel like projects like this can benefit the communities? Because obviously we want to try and do more things like this, right? We want to, the ultimate goal is collaboration over competition. One of the key, I guess, another key theme is a welcoming table, right? If they don't make room at the table, then we build our own. And so this is kind of what it's all about. So tell me, like, do you feel like there's going to be any impact on the communities overall? How do you see that influences the community?
Yeah, I really hope so. I think again it goes back to the positive stories and seeing different people from different walks of life, but all Black and brown people doing positive things. I think that is important to see. I also like how we're all just everyday people. We're not necessarily, on the front big stage or celebrities or things like that. And I think, again, it's good to highlight those stories. I know, today there are still a lot of challenges within that Black people, and especially young Black people, are facing today. I know there's a lot of challenges, with gangs and knife crime. And, I've learned recently that Wolverhampton, this city, is like the highest place for knife crime in the UK. And that affects a lot of Black people. And I think there is kind of a vicious cycle that can happen where what people see gets replicated. So I think it's important to highlight these stories of hope, and especially the everyday people, to know that you can do something different and you can do something positive and have a positive impact with your life.
I like that, because I think, that's also, I think when I speak to Darren, who's also a part of the project, one of the things that he highlights is, in the media, we see a lot of negative, we see the films, the stereotypes of where the gangs are prominent, and those types of media seem to sell. Those types of media we seem to be supporting as a community. And so I think it's time for us to see something different. And I think what you're saying is really important in terms of, we are regular people, but we are making impact, right? We are changing lives in various minute different ways. You mentioned how you reached out to someone simply in church, and that changed the trajectory of her life, right? And so I think it's important that people understand that if you just reach back and help someone, you never know what impact it might have, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a final question.
Okay.
And I really am going to leave it open to you. What is it that you want to leave people with? Is there one thing that you want people to know about you, about this project, about your mission, about your vision? What is it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what I want people to know, I think I just want to encourage people to say, no matter where you are, where you've come from, and what you're facing in life, that it is possible to do great things, even through small actions. And even if people don't notice, you don't know the impact you can have just by being yourself and sharing whatever it is that you have to offer. I'd also want to emphasize as well, just to believe in yourself, believe that you can do great things, and even if there aren't clear opportunities in front of you, to keep going, and just trust that things will work out if you keep showing up and believing in yourself.
I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Keri. I think we'll leave it there. That has been it, guys. This has been Keri Grant. I am Alicia, and we will see you soon. Take care. Be blessed. Bye-bye.